this is your song, David, to Marvin.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
I hope you can hear it. I figure this is better than the little drum.
Hey. Hey. Peace up. Hey, calm down.
Back to the back and decadent flows.
I guess in a minute.
Who is it? I would happen to know the one with the flow. It was me, I suppose.
Ludacris done kicked us off today. Welcome to another edition of the Player and the Fan, baby. We in here, Kiera Luck, along with myself, David Noel, and we have a very special guest today. My man, Marvin Gay Williams Jr. By way of Bremerton, Washington, my man has come to join us today. Ladies and gentlemen, he was the number 2 overall pick in the 2005 NBA draft. He was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, hence the music that we just played, Welcome to Atlanta, by my man Ludacris. He was also a 2005 national championship, played 7 years in Atlanta, 2 years for Utah, and 6 years in Charlotte, and now is finishing up in Milwaukee before this whole pandemic happened. M-Dub, what's happening, brother?
What's up, good sir? You all right?
Man, thank you, man. Thank you for joining us, man. It's always a pleasure to have a Tar Heel, a family member, a brother on the podcast with us. We've had DG, Danny Green. We've had Jawad Williams, and appreciate you blessing us with your presence, man.
No, thank you guys, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Kiera, what's happening? How you been?
I'm glad to be a part of the show.
Yeah, you are. You are the other half of this show. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the player, and Kiera is the fan, the journalist, the everything. She keeps it going. The tech behind the board.
Listen.
She the reason why y'all can hear us now. Because I don't do none of that. I just get on here and talk.
Not a thing. Yeah, Marvin, it is an absolute pleasure to have you today, and I'm super excited. Yeah, I'm ready to dive into your story. I know as I was doing my research, I was looking, I was like, Marvin Williams, make sure all my T's were crossed and my I's were dotted, and I was like, all right, social media, nothing. All right, so I was like, Marvin Williams interviews, all right. That's nothing. I'm like, all right, so now I really got to do some research. So it's going to be super exciting. I feel like was an exclusive because you're not really active on social media. You know, there's not too many interviews of you out there. So I'm honored that you told us yes. And I know most of that is because of David. So thank you so much for your time and your presence.
Of course. Thank you.
Dive in.
I'm ready.
First things first, good brethren. So let me ask you this. Are you happy about the opportunity? Well, I ain't gonna say are you happy. How did you feel about the opportunity to leave Charlotte and go to Milwaukee, playing alongside the Greek Freak, but also just an opportunity to be back in the playoffs and all of that kind of deal? Now, I played in Milwaukee, cold as that thing up there. But just speak to that a little bit and how it all came about and how you felt about it.
Man, obviously it's a blessing to have the opportunity first and foremost, but it was really, really bittersweet, man. It was tough to leave Charlotte. You know, I've been here for 5 or 6 years, and I've played with a lot of guys throughout my time here, and the role that I had here, I really enjoyed. You know, I was the old guy in the locker room. You know, I was helping the youngins out and still working on my game and trying to help the team get better, and I was kind of the bridge from the coaches to the players, and I really enjoyed that role. The trade deadline came on Thursday, come and gone. I was still here. Went to practice Friday, and I was literally getting a massage after practice, and my phone kept blowing up, and obviously I wasn't going to answer in the training room. So my lady had called me, and she was like, "Yo, you need to call your agent back." And I was like, "For what?" He was like, "Man, he really needs to talk to you." I was like, "Man, what?" So I get off the table, and like I said, the trade deadline's come and gone, so I'm not even like,
right.
You know what I mean? I'm not even thinking about nothing. So we get in the car, and I'm driving home, and, you know, he's talking to me, and he said that, you know, a couple of teams had called about me. Would I be interested? And I told him I would only want to do it if it was worth doing it, because I like Charlotte. You know, obviously we weren't winning as much as I would have liked. We were a young team. I love my guys, man. They're very hardworking and fun to be around. And, I loved our coaching staff. And when he told me that I may have an opportunity to play for a team that was, maybe possibly going to make a push, man, I had to take advantage of it. So long story short, man, everybody understood, but it was a very difficult decision to make. But I'm certainly thankful for the opportunity that I do have.
And I'm sorry to kind of like backtrack to your collegiate days, but
No worries.
it's not a timeline.
It ain't no timeline. We jump around on here.
Ain't no type of like. I'm sorry, but I just want to talk about what was it like playing in Carolina? I have follow-up questions for that, but I know me and Dave go back and forth, so I'll just keep it kind of short. But just tell me about your experience playing for Carolina, and not most people get lucky in 1 year.
Yeah, it was a blessing. Like it was the most fun I've ever had playing basketball ever in my life. Like from the moment I stepped on campus to the moment I left, it was the most fun I've ever had playing basketball. Like growing up, I watched Carolina. My dad is from North Carolina, and I used to watch Coach Smith instructional videos in his living room, and I used to wear North Carolina sweatsuits and jackets, and so I was kind of raised on Carolina, but I didn't truly understand it until I came down here. So just having that opportunity was so special for me, and I'm so thankful for it. But it was the most fun I had ever had, still to this day.
So let me ask you this, because you just talked about how fun it was to be at Carolina. So you were a one and done before the one and done was popular, before the NBA put in this rule. So the NBA put in a rule in 2005. This was after you left. What made you play college basketball versus going straight pro?
I wanted to go to college, period. My high school class, 2004, I think we had maybe 8 to 10 guys get drafted out of high school. It's probably close to a record, I bet. And obviously I was, I had an opportunity, I guess, to maybe make that jump, but that wasn't something that I was interested in. I made it very clear that I wanted to go to college. Like school was something that I wanted to experience. It just always seemed so fun to me. So jumping straight from high school to the NBA wasn't something that was on my mind at all.
Now,
you gotta remember too, I was 16 or 17. I was a youngin'. So I really wasn't ready for that. I was 17 when I got to college, so I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
Now, Marvin, your announcement to go pro was an emotional one. And why was it emotional? What went into your mind, and how tough of a decision was it? Because you loved it. You loved that 1 year. I mean, you come out that year, like I said, the lucky, yes, of people, of players. And then you had this emotional announcement of going pro. What was going through your mind, and what was your conversation like with Coach Williams on your decision?
It was hard. It was really, really hard because I didn't want to leave. I actually had dinner with Coach and my dad one night, and Coach Williams looked me dead in the face, and he told me, he said that he wants me to stay here as long as I want to stay here. But if I was his kid, he would tell me that I should leave. And when he told me that, I felt like I had to do it. It was almost like, he thought that's what was best for me. If Coach Williams would have told me to stay and play 4 years, I would have stayed and played 4 years. I would have probably found a way to try to get a 5th year there if I could have. But, whatever he told me that I should do is what I was always going to do. And when he told me and my dad that he felt like I should leave, I felt like that's what we needed to do.
The crazy part about that is, like Kiera keeps, you kind of use the word lucky. I wouldn't say it was lucky. That joker was skilled. And again, I say this from I'm thinking
in the perspective of how many one-and-dones really come in and win a championship. I mean, that's the aspect of lucky that I'm referring to, not
right. And I get what you mean, but again, from the outside looking in, you can call it luck, but from the inside looking in, like Marvin Williams, I think I've told him before, inspired a guy like me. Like I've always built what I've done off of hard work. Like I've let that be known. Like everything that I do or that I've gotten or I've achieved in this life is because I work hard. I always concentrate on the work. I've never been the most talented on any team that I've played on. Well, that might be a lie, but still.
That's
So
definitely a lie.
thinking, but here's my point. When we talk about luck and we talk about skill and it all coming together, Marvin Williams was the most talented guy that I had ever seen work as hard as he did. Like, he was always trying to be first in the drills. He was always trying to be like the leader, and that inspired me. Like, and I'm like, because again, I'm the guy that works hard. But when you saw that type of talent work that hard, you knew it was destined for greatness. And just to kind of move on from that, Marv, like, your first year after getting drafted, you go number 2 overall. Your 7 years in Atlanta. Talk about those years and how you guys grew. Because y'all had a nice squad. You rocking with Joe Johnson, you rocking with Josh Smith. Y'all had a squad, man. Mike Bibby. So just kind of speak to how you grew in those years in Atlanta. Again, coming in as a 17-year-old kid into the NBA, into that type of atmosphere.
Yeah. I was a pup, man. My birthday was a week before the draft, fresh 19. So I get drafted to Atlanta, and I had my cousin came. One of my cousins came down with me, and 2 of my best friends came, and my dad was there. So we were all the same age, obviously, and we kind of grew up in Atlanta. Like, literally became a man in that city. And I mean, Atlanta's an amazing city. Obviously, you and I spent a lot of time down there and had a good time. But just to be able to kind of grow up on and off the court, in that city, I had a great time. Our team, obviously, when I got there, we had a bunch of youngins. We had like 4 or 5 dudes, maybe 4 guys that were like literally not even able to legally drink. Like, that's how young we were.
Yeah.
I mean, we were the youngest team in the NBA for at least 3 or 4 years, probably, I bet, straight. And then all of a sudden you mentioned guys like, Mike Bibby and Joe got older, myself got older, Josh got older. You draft Al Horford, who started to get older. They just kind of built it that way. And, we became a good team. We were a good team, made the playoffs, I think, for maybe 4 or 5 straight years, made it to the second round a couple of times. So we had a great time there, man. I had a blast there. I was very thankful for that opportunity, for sure.
First of all, I need your piece. Whatever you have, I hear the birds chirping. I mean, you're in the you just
that farm sway going on over there.
You're just over there just chilling. So I need that Marvin Williams piece. But
this is always my demeanor.
Tell me about just one of your most memorable. If you could highlight any Carolina experience, what one would that be? Just one, outside of winning the championship, because when I asked Jawad this, he was like, duh, that would be it.
that was gonna be mine. Man, so the ACC championship, that doesn't count either?
We didn't the regular season.
The regular season.
That was
something outside of a trophy.
You know what? I would say, I think from being in school, it's not even about like basketball for me. I think that one thing that I appreciate the most from going to school is just the people that I've met. I mean, some of my closest friends that I have in life now, i.e. Dave, Sean, Ray, who some of the closest people that I have friends in life now, I met in Chapel Hill. So I would say just the people that I was able to meet there, I truly, truly appreciate, for sure.
And we always talk about relationships built throughout this game, and again, in North Carolina, we always say it's like a family, that kind of deal. So Marv, just kind of speak to your family. How is everybody doing? Again, you started off a young pup, and now we're in this pandemic, so to speak. So how is your family doing? How are you protecting the little ones, the wife, fiance, all that kind of stuff, and how is that going?
It's been good, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is the most time I've ever spent at home. Obviously, with our profession, you're only here probably about half the time. So I remember when things got locked down, I was still in Milwaukee. And Milwaukee right now, exactly, it's still cold. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna kind of sit here. My lady and I talked, like, man, we'll sit here. She was like, let's just hang out for a couple of weeks and see how it goes. If you don't like it, then we can go home. So I was like, cool. So first week is whatever. It's kind of cool. I've been off for a week. You know, the first week when the season's over, you just kind of relaxing. Second week is cool. So like I'm literally just like training downstairs in the basement every day. They brought over like a ton of equipment. They were giving us food to eat. Like it was like a perfect setup over there for me. So one day I was supposed to go run. And this is like April, I guess like April 5th or 6th. No joke. It's 37 degrees outside. So I got on like 2 sweats. I do not like the cold, by the way. I got on like 2 sweatsuits. I try to go run at this track, and the security comes out and kicks me off the track. I said I can't be there, I guess because the school was locked down. So I'm like, man, it's 37 degrees. I got up and drove here. It's about to snow. I came back into the house. I told my lady, like, yo, we're out of here. Like, we're going. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, we're going home. Like, I'm looking at the weather in Charlotte every day, 75, 70. I'm just like, man, nah, we got to go. It's time to get out of here. So, like, literally, like, we started packing up the house, and a few days later, we drove. We left at, like, 8 at night and drove through the night, got here, like, 9:30 the next morning, and got our feet kicked up ever since. So, it's good to be home. But the pandemic's been crazy, man. I watch CNN all day, every day. My family hates it. They hate it. And I don't even know why I watch it. It just really messes with my mind. But I just try to stay informed with everything because this thing is crazy, man. It's really crazy. It's affected the world, not just our country, like literally the world.
Right.
So, Marvin, what made you make Carolina home?
I think Chapel Hill, honestly. Again, like my father's family is here, and my lady went to Chapel Hill as well. So we just have so many ties here, and I love where I'm from, Washington. I love it. And, you know, a lot of my folks are still back there, but my parents are gone. My dad lives here. My mom lives in Atlanta. You know, I have 2 brothers that are still back there, but I mean, they always come here to see us. So it's really no reason to go back home. So this is home now.
Namaste.
So we're gonna take a quick real quick. And we're gonna talk about something different. And Marv is probably, well, you might be one of 2 people that I know with way more tattoos than me. so Marv is a tattoo connoisseur. So just kind of talk about your love for tattoos. You gotten some, you gotten ink all over your body, you've gotten rid of some, that kind of deal. So just kind of talk about the love for tattoos and all that kind of stuff.
So my love for tattoos started actually watching a Carolina basketball game. You might appreciate this story too. So I was watching a game with my dad and Shaman. I used to really like Marvin Williams, and he had the brand on his arm. And I was like, man, that's kind of cool. You know, so I told my dad, I was like, man, I want that. My dad was like, do you know how they get that? And when he told me, I was like, nah, I don't want that anymore. So obviously I didn't know about fraternities and everything at that point in my life, but I just thought it was the coolest thing. So after he told me, I was like, nah, maybe I'll just get a tattoo. So I was, he didn't like that idea either. So I was like 14 or 15, went to go get a tattoo. And I told my dad, oh my goodness, if he would have been in front of me, I might not be here today. He was so mad. He was so mad. But after I got the one, he was just like, whatever. And I just kept getting them. I mean, I've always enjoyed tattoos. I mean, all of my tattoos, some are really good, some are terrible, but they all kind of tell a story about something that I was doing in my life. Like, I can look at certain tattoos on my body and be like, yeah, I was in this place, whether it be a different state or another country, or one of my buddies is just getting into tattooing, so I let him practice on me, or whatever the case, lost a bet, like whatever the case may be. I've got a ton of different stories about all the ink that's on my body. So when I'm 60 and my kids get older and they'll look at them, I'll have something to tell them for
sure. That's good stuff.
So, Marvin, you finished your degree at Carolina. Talk about just how being – so, hold on, let's back this up. So, something that Coach Matt Brown says about attending Carolina, he says, this is not a 4-year commitment. This is a 3-year commitment. This is not just something you come in and you're done with. Carolina is something that is in your life forever. And just talk about how important it is for one and dones to not just look at themselves as a one and done athlete, but you also have the opportunity to receive a great education, and how beneficial it is to continue it even though you're no longer a part of the university.
Yeah. Outside of my family, getting my degree was the greatest thing I've ever accomplished. And it's not even close, because I feel like basketball is something that I loved, and you know, I feel like I was blessed, and it's kind of what God wanted me to do. But I literally had to go back there every single summer, pay my own money every single summer, every school year online, and do it. And, you know, it's fun when Dave is still walking around driving you to class and we're still working out together, but Dave leaves. And now your class of '08 leaves. And I'm in there with my last class, I remember a girl told me, she was like, man, I remember watching you in the national championship game with my dad. I was just like, man, how old are you? Like, it's not fun then. You know what I mean? Like when you're sitting there with like kids, you're literally sitting there with kids. So it was something that I really had to work for. It was not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I think when you look at it and you're like, man, you got 33 credits when you leave school and you got to get to 120. Like, it sounds like a lot, but you do things during the year. You have a ton of time during the season. So I took advantage of that and came back in the summer and I lived there and trained there. And, you know, my guys were great, man. Guys like Dave, Sean, they would drop me off at class, pick me up at class, you know, come eat with me, get up early and train with me. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, having that support system was really big for me, but it wasn't bad. I think any kid nowadays that wants to leave school, you should always go back to get your degree. I think they pay for it now, actually.
Yeah,
they do.
Even better.
Yeah, they do.
It's just pay for you. You cannot beat that.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally get a free education, so you definitely should take advantage of that. Because, like I said, I had to pay my own money out of state tuition.
You need to ask for retro pay on that, bro.
I would love to get that back.
That back pay. Because, bro, what you mean? I want some back pay on mine too.
Yeah, I would love to get that back. No, it was worth it, man. Education is something I'll have forever. So it was worth it. It was worth every minute, every penny.
Good.
So we talk about your time at North Carolina. Talk about how difficult it was to watch North Carolina play this season.
Oh man.
And also speak to if you've been kind of in a loop or whatever the case may be, speak to what you feel like the current class that is coming in next year is capable of doing if we even have a season next year.
I mean, obviously it was tough to watch, you know, them play at times, but you know, it was a learning experience for them, and the guys that'll come back, they'll certainly be ready this year. And I think Cole left, he'll be in the NBA next year, which would be great for him. But you know, the one thing about Carolina, like, you play so well for so many years, and everybody like says nothing, and then like, yeah, we struggle a little bit. You can't even like pump the gas without somebody saying something crazy about the game. Like, I'm just like, man, give us a break. You know, we were just young. It was an experience for everybody. But, you know, we'll grow from it, and we'll be back to where we normally are. And I know guys are really looking forward to that. I hear great things about the class coming in. I think there's like 4 or 5 McDonald's players coming. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, you're right. We have three 5-stars in the
three McDonald's All-Americans. Yeah. We got Dayron Sharp, Caleb Love, and Walker Kelsey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the 3 McDonald's All-Americans.
So I mean, you got those guys, and I mean, hopefully they'll be able to come in and work hard and, you know, learn the ropes and be able to contribute right away. That'd be great. And the upperclassmen will have that season last year to really motivate them. So they'll definitely be better next year for sure.
I love the way Marv puts the political, so positive on it. I be tearing Carolina all the place on this show. Marv came on, was like, you know, it's a learning experience. They were young. I said, man, these bums, man.
Bruh, you know how it is. I mean, you've been there before. You know what I mean? You've been there before. Whether it be in college or professional, high school, whatever the case may be, but you always bounce back from it.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you on that. And, again, the McDonald's All-Americans that we have coming in next year, Walker Kelsey, 5-star center, Dayron Sharp, Caleb Love, point guard. But then you also have R.J. Davis, Puff Johnson, who is the brother of Cameron Johnson. And then we just got a new commit, Kerwin Walton. He's supposed to be a shooter. And we needed that. Much needed.
Right?
All right, that's what I said. Much needed. But now, when I watch the highlights,
Davis never satisfied. This is the
thing. It's not that I'm not satisfied. It's just when you think of a shooter, you like when I say shooter, who comes to mind? And don't name NBA guys. Well, name NBA guys. You got your Steph Currys. You got your Kevin Durant's. I don't want to name a Dookie on this show, but JJ Redick, guys like that. So when you say a shooter, Cameron Johnson, when you say a shooter, that the highlights You thinking you finna get just straight bucket?
Yeah, but you can't compare them to them though. Like
What
you
do
can't. That is
mean?
like when you say a shooter. If Steph is setting the bar at shooter, like no one else can have that stamp. Only him and Clay are ever gonna have that stamp.
Right, but
You
that's
can't-
why I
you
dropped
can't-
it
you
down
can't,
to
like-
Cameron Johnson.
I mean, he can shoot.
David, no shade. Like, come on.
That's my point. But no, I'm not saying that Cam can't shoot as good as Steph. Or I mean, he just hadn't proven that yet. But in college, we knew him as a shooter. You know,
Right.
JJ Redick as a shooter.
Right.
Guys like that. Like, Kerwin just doesn't. It just never really. Now he made shots on the highlight tape.
Just give him a second.
I pray that he can shoot the ball as well as they are saying he can shoot the ball. I hadn't looked at any numbers, so I need to check that out, see if he's like a career 40% shooter from the three, high school three. Now that line look far back now in NCAA. So, you know what I'm saying? That couple of feet, it'll change a whole joke of shots. So we gonna see. I hope that he is what everybody is saying that he is. And then also we have Creighton Lebo, who's gonna walk on Jeff Lebo's son. So we got a class of 7, and we have another scholarship left.
We do. I see him giving that to a walk-on. I don't see Coach.
Yeah, man. If somebody can come in and help us, that can stay healthy, he better get that scholarship to them.
I love seeing walk-ons get scholarships.
I do too.
I love it.
I do too.
Me too.
JV.
Look. Me too.
Look at you.
This walk-on was so happy when he got his scholarship.
You was gonna get that regardless.
Yeah, sound good.
I'm talking about a true walk-on, not a 5-star receiver.
Bro.
I'm talking about like a true walk-on.
You said receiver. That means that's a completely different sport.
Yeah, but if you wanted to play basketball, you could have did just like you did.
Right. I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying. I'm glad that I got my scholarship. The walk-on got a scholarship.
So Marvin, since you played for, I'm about to say played for Carolina, played for the Hornets, what has been your experience watching The Last Dance and knowing or being under the advisory of Michael Jordan as an owner and just watching that experience? And also something that we talked about, David doesn't agree with me, but Jawad did. Do you see this as being a recruitment type of Dave, fix your face.
I'm gonna let him answer the question. I'm just saying.
Being beneficial to shining light on Carolina being a recruitment tactic. Because Michael riding the bike with the leather coat on, the white people in the background.
That's all she can say.
Perkins were pulling. So he said it was a clean program. Coach Williams has been literally on every major network since his appearance in episode, what was that, 1? 2 maybe? Yeah. Coach Williams has been on a press run since then.
We need to take advantage of it. Just like Coach K take advantage of the USA team stuff, all these commercials he got. We need that. Come on, Coach, get you some endorsements, baby.
I agree. That's why I'm saying it's a great tactic, and it's been boostful because now you're not only introducing a new generation of Michael Jordan, but you're also seeing the benefits of having a Carolina family because, of course, Dean Smith made his appearance, and so that was long, Marvin.
Yeah, no worries.
Your turn.
It's cool to see. I mean, I actually was asked this question a couple of days ago. He's very different. Obviously, I didn't play with him, but he would tell you that he's very different as a player than he is as an owner. Very different. But I mean, it's cool like to see him. Like, I feel like I've been blessed with like the opportunity to really like know him and speak to him and talk to him. So it's like when you see him, it's not, man, that's Michael Jordan. I don't feel like that anymore. Like. Just ball. We just call him boss, like big boss. That's just what we call him. Like when you see him, so it's no big thing. It's no big thing. But no, he was. I mean, I loved playing for him. I mean, to be able to sit down and talk basketball with him, or to listen to his advice, or whatever the case may be. I remember when I had my first daughter, he sent a huge like congratulatory package to the house, and signed a card for her that we still have in the room, and like throws a big Christmas party for everybody in the organization every year and buys everybody gifts. And I mean, he was cool. He's super cool. I mean, he's real cool. Sit down there in the games, talks to you during the games. As far as like the recruiting part of the Last Dance, I guess I never really thought about it from that standpoint. I mean, if I was like 16 or 17, I don't know, because he went there so long ago. Like, I think it would be cool to see like Coach Williams on TV, but I don't know if I would be like, oh man, I need to go there because Michael Jordan.
Right, and that's exactly what I was saying. Like, this generation is so it's like the birds are like going crazy right now. I think the birds sound amazing. But listen, so for me, I just feel like this generation is so like caught up on LeBron James and Steph Curry. Like, they're so far removed from Jordan that all this is doing is just educating them on really who the GOAT really is. In my opinion, I'll keep saying in my opinion. It should be in everybody's opinion.
Our opinion. It's the Player and the Fans podcast opinion.
Right, yeah. So on this show, the GOAT, anytime we say the GOAT, we is talking about Michael Jordan. That's it. Ain't no LeBron James. So for me, I just didn't think it would do that for North Carolina basketball. I didn't think it would lift us up and, oh my God, now I gotta go because MJ was the truth.
Well, these days whenever recruits post that, I got accepted or I was offered a scholarship in Carolina, who's the picture they're posting? They're not posting Cole Anthony. They're not posting
them jokers post
Jordan. That's who they're posting.
Jordan. Them jokers post a picture of the floor with the crowd. Blessed to receive an offer from the University of North Carolina. The floor.
I don't know. I don't know if they would know. If I was 15 or 16, like the 15, 16-year-olds now, they don't. I played with guys on my team that never even seen Jordan play. And that's like guys I'm working with. So like, go 5 years even younger than that. Like, they have no idea. Right. I really don't think. I was actually telling someone, like, people are gonna this documentary is really gonna let people know like who he really was and what he really did. Because a lot of youngers, they just don't know. They, like you said, they look at Steph, or they look at LeBron, or they look at James Harden, or whatever the case may be. All great players to look at, all like game-changing type players. But like when you talk about basketball and people mention Michael Jordan, you're gonna understand why people say that he's the greatest to ever play.
Right.
I mean, you think about what he did. Like, to win 3, he wins 3 and then decides I'm gonna go play another sport in his prime. Yeah. And then comes back like he never left and wins 3 more. I mean, to even say that is insane, like literally insane.
Right.
In your prime. I mean, it's just crazy to even say that. Like, I don't know.
Me and Fade have been arguing for quite a bit about this conversation, and and again, it's your opinion. To each his own. I get it, but for people to like. I don't mind you downplaying LeBron, but you can't downplay Jordan. Like, you can downplay LeBron a little bit. I do it all the time. I understand LeBron is great. I completely agree that LeBron is top 5 in the NBA history, just from his body of work. But Jordan, ain't nobody touching that. Like, that is just him. The closest you'll ever get was Kobe. But the reason why Kobe can't be it is because every time Kobe played, you saw Jordan. So like that's the only piece that I say. I downplay LeBron a little bit. All right, it's what I do. It's fine. But at the end of the day, I understand his greatness and how great he is. But he's to me, he's still just not Jordan.
All right. Well,
I'm not downplaying either one of them. I mean, obviously you're not going to downplay Jordan. I'm not going to downplay LeBron either. I mean, at the end of the day, when they both came into the NBA, they literally changed the game, like literally. And I think I wish LeBron got more credit for what he does off the court, with the scholarship program and the schools that he's built. I mean, this is a guy that didn't even go to college, but he's steady going back, giving back to his community, making sure that kids are getting educated. And I feel like that should get even more publicity than it does sometimes. So he's really impacted basketball globally on and off the court. So I have much respect for him. Much respect.
Now, on that piece, he is the GOAT.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
I firmly believe that, because Jordan, Just one thing. That's one thing about MJ. Now, when we talk about basketball, we talk about philanthropy, stuff like that. Now, Jordan on one end on the court, he is absolutely the GOAT. Don't ask me nobody else. Now, off the court, it's a whole different ball game. LeBron James, he done took it to a whole nother level, a whole nother stratosphere as far as creating opportunities for others. So, to that piece, I completely agree with you, Dub, on that. Like, he is the GOAT in my book on that piece. But we ain't talking about that. We're talking about basketball.
He's still one of the best to ever do it. Still.
Oh yeah, no, I'm still saying top 5.
Yeah, he might be tied to 5, but
top 5, bro. You put him where you want to put him. He top 5. I don't know if he's number 2. Maybe.
No.
Number 3. 4.
David would not stop it if you just let him go. So we're going to try and switch him gears off of that topic. So I wanted to discuss with you guys your thoughts on the G League and what they're doing to kind of probe guys away from going to college. Today, Dennis Love, Caleb Love's father, and Caleb Love is a recent committed player to Carolina. He was asked by a G League representative to actually skip college and take the Jalen Green route. So before this started, me and David initially both thought there has to be guidelines to G League representatives speaking to already committed kids going to college. David, speaking as a G League coach, what does that look like, and how do you even set those guidelines? Because does this not even resemble? I mean,
tampering.
when I think,
That's tampering.
I'm trying to. That's what it said. Yeah, because I mean, yeah. So that's what it looks like to me on a professional level. So,
there has to be something put in place that if a kid is already committed. Now, if he's not committed, then it's fair game. It's just like recruiting. You become a part of the recruitment process, I believe. But if a kid is already committed, and I don't think they've signed their letter of intent yet, but he's committed verbally, whatever the case may be, then I think as a professional, you have to leave that alone unless something happens to where he decommits and now you can jump back in the picture. So I think they do need to put some type of guidelines into place to where once a kid commits, they kind of have to leave them alone. Now, as a G League coach, and understanding a little bit more of this contract, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So when you throw that at a kid, like naturally, you might get the reaction of, let me think about that. You know what? I don't want to go to Carolina no more. I'm gonna go get this bread. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they come to you. Yeah. It's different. It's different as if you were going to them kind of deal. But when they come to you and they offer it, now they put doubt in your mind and that kind of deal. So and for a 17, 18-year-old kid, $500,000, man. Yeah. Like that's a lot of money. So I do think they need to put guidelines in place to where once a kid is committed, you can no longer touch them, you can no longer speak to them. And I think that needs to go into place with their families as well, because like had they talked to the dad and the dad got happy and was like, oh yeah, let me get that money too. Yeah. And now he convinces his son. So I think they need to put it in place to where the contact is limited once a kid becomes committed. What you think, Doug?
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I think once a kid has committed to going to school, I think he's done. I think you shouldn't be able to try to change his mind. You also think about, like you just said, think about how many other people are affected by someone making that decision. Mm-hmm. So you come to a kid that's 17 and that's already committed to going to Carolina, and you're like, hey, here's a G League contract. He backs out. Now Coach Williams is out of a kid. Now another kid is possibly out of a basketball scholarship where they could have played. So it's like a chain reaction that you're going to create, which is really not fair to everybody. So I think once a kid has committed, if he decommits and he's hasn't picked a school yet, I think I do agree it's fair game. But once he's committed to a school, I don't think he can do that anymore. I don't think he should be able to do that anymore.
So that even goes back to Isaiah Todd. Isaiah Todd was committed to the University of Michigan. And so Michigan stops recruiting because he's committed to them. Mm-hmm. And then he backs out and he takes the G League offer. So or decides that he wants to go play professionally or so now if it comes down to the kid and the kid, I just think kids nowadays, they got to be a little bit more careful with what they want to do. If you want to go for the money, go for the money. And then I think it's also up to the NBA too to go ahead and uplift this rule and let these kids go straight out of high school. And that'll kind of eliminate all of this as well. Once that rule is lifted to where you got to be 19 or whatever the case may be, that was done in 2005. Once that rule is lifted, I think it's been long enough. People understand. All right, and now you have this one and done pandemic that's going on, along with all of this bad recruiting violations and all that kind of stuff. So once all of that goes away by them lifting the rule to play at the right out of high school, then I think you eliminate a lot of that stuff, and then the kids who do deserve the opportunities will get the opportunities because other guys will move out the way.
Okay. And I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marvin.
No, I was gonna say to Dave, like, you gotta remember, man, like you said, these kids, like, they're kids. I mean, that's a hard decision to make, you know, at 17 years old. You know, it was hard for me to make a decision about what school to pick, let alone like, am I really gonna go professional? Is this the right time for me to do? You know what I mean? Because you're gonna be 17, 18. You know, I couldn't imagine going from Bremerton to Atlanta. Like, Atlanta would have been back home in Bremerton in like 2 years. Out of it. You know what I mean? I just have never been away from home. I didn't know how to survive like that. You know what I mean? So it would have been very difficult. So it's a tough decision to make for youngins for sure, man. Hopefully these young kids have the right people in their corner to help them make that choice.
So not of course, but kind of leading into that, and which would help to me, honestly, this would be the NBA's biggest problem in trying to probe away college kids. The NCAA and Congress are trying to find a common ground on getting kids paid or receiving compensation for their name, image, and likeness. So this week, the NCAA's Board of Governors is having a meeting. They're laying out the landscape of it because different states, especially with California leading the way, are saying you got to pay these players because we're using their image and their likeness and they're not receiving compensation for it. So when this goes into effect within the next year, how does that change the landscape of college sports, specifically college basketball, with players now getting paid? Does that make it harder for the G League to kind of like get players from decommitting from schools now?
I think the G League would go back to it being a literal development league.
Yeah.
That's what I think will happen. Now, if that goes into effect and you lift the rule of kids being able to go to the league straight out of high school, you have that component. And then you have the component of kids that might not get an opportunity because Zion Williams went to Duke or Cole Anthony went to North Carolina. Now somebody else takes that place. And now they have an opportunity to stay 2, 3, 4 years and benefit off of their likeness. They get a chance to grow their game. They get a chance to grow their name. And so freshman year, they might not get as much money. But senior year, okay, my name and likeness is out there. Like, so you take a guy like me. Once all 8 of them jokers left, like, I'm the only one left now. You know what I'm saying? Tyler Hansbrough was a freshman, so it's me. I get on that. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So think about it in those type of terms and ways, I think. And then I think, so now the G League will become literally what it is today as the development league. I know we call it the G League, but it is still there for development purposes. And I think that's what it'll continue to be versus this commercialized gimmick that we're trying to do with all these high school kids.
So you don't think, say for instance, I'm not going to use Cole Anthony because he doesn't need the money, but if you're saying, I can't speak on any player, honestly, but if you're saying I'm a top prospect, my issue is the only thing that's stopping me from going to college is getting paid. The G League is offering me $500,000, but I can go to college and my name, image, and likeness, I can receive compensation. They're even allowing players to get paid from their autographs. So if I can receive all this money, why not get the collegiate experience and the brand awareness? Because to me, college builds your brand, whether you like it or not. Because wherever you guys go, there's always going to be a Carolina fan that screams your name. That's something that you're not going to get in a pro level. You have a loyal fan base that you can build and receive compensation and receive a free college education why wouldn't you choose that route instead of just a lump sum of $500,000 that doesn't necessarily benefit you other than a paycheck? Well, I mean, you
I'll
do
say this.
classes from pros, but
I'll say this real quick, and then Dub, I'll let you answer that. The NBA is still built off potential.
potentially
So the younger,
per Coach
no,
Williams.
I agree with that. But the NBA is still built off potential. The more potential you have, meaning the younger you are, that's when they're gonna take the most risk on you. So I don't think it would affect it in that sense, but I still think the NBA is still gonna be built on potential no matter what. Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with a lot that you said. I think at the end of the day, some people just don't want to go to school. You know what I mean? So
that too.
I mean, if it's not like, I mean, I hate to say it, but like some basketball is what some people do. It's who they are. You know, that they're not trying to go to sit in the, I mean, even kids now, I'm sure, go to college and don't even be in school. You know, so some kids just don't want to go to school. So I think if you have the option to make more money going to the G League, and I don't like school, and I'm not going to go to school, I'll just go to the G League. And I would say for me personally, if you were able to get paid in college, I'd have never left college. Like ever left college. I mean, and that's just me. Like me leaving school was 100% a financial decision for my family, 100%. But if my family would have been a little bit better off, I for sure would have stayed in school, no question. So I just think every person is different. Every person is different.
All right, those are my questions. I'm proud of
you. You hear the birds? The birds say, "Hey, we appreciate y'all. It's a wrap, baby. The birds is getting it."
Well, Marvin, I appreciate your time for this interview, because I know it's family time, and you.
No, it's okay. I
Y'all,
appreciate y'all.
Y'all been quarantined for 6 months now.
That's cool.
But still, you know,
it feel like that. I done built a whole new house over here, bro. It feel like we've been locked down for so long.
every time I text you, Dave, you're doing a new project. My dad painted the driveway blue. I don't know.
Hey, just good. That's how bored you be.
You got time. You got time now.
Yeah, you ain't got nothing but time. You be like, bro, you could be looking around like, bro, I'm a dig the twigs out this concrete real quick. They ain't got nothing else to do. So, and you know me, the house full over here, we doing, school and all that kind of stuff. I be trying to stay away from that, but it don't work. Wife be like, hey, bro, need your help. So, but yeah, man, this is Dub, man. We appreciate you coming on. Again,
always, man, always.
Of the player and the fan. And again, nothing like having family in town, man. So we sure appreciate you, good brother. And best of luck to you the rest of your career. That's another question. How much longer you think you got, dog?
Yeah.
I mean, if this thing gets fired back up and we do what we're supposed to do, it might be over with for me.
Might be the farewell tour. Hey,
it might be over for me. I mean, we'll see. I'm definitely gonna sit down and talk to my family about it. Because it's different now. My daughter will be starting school here in Charlotte, and I pulled her out of school to go to Milwaukee. We put her in school up there. She was in school for 4 days.
Aww.
They went on spring break. The pandemic hit. Now school's canceled up there. So we can't bring her back here and put her in school. She does school online up there every morning for like an hour and a half or 2 hours or something. But if I was to go play again, and if Milwaukee would not want me back, then I would be like moving them again somewhere. So that'd be like 3 schools for her in a calendar year. Yeah. And I'm not really trying to put her through that if I don't have to do it. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I mean, I got a lot to talk about with my family and stuff, but Lord willing, we get back to playing soon, and hopefully I have an opportunity to maybe win one. But you never know. We'll see.
Well, and dang, this is another question. What do you see after you finishing? I mean, is there any career path that you definitely want to take?
Yeah, so I did an internship some years back in New York with the NBA League office, and I really, really enjoyed it. I got a chance to spend a lot of time with all the different departments up there that kind of make, I kind of grow the game, I would say, globally. So I really enjoyed it. So I really want to stay involved with the NBA if I can, if I do have the opportunity. So I'm just going to try to stay in contact with as many people as I can from the league office. When I'm done playing, maybe there will be an opportunity up there for me. If not, I'll just be taking my kids to school every day, picking them up.
Ain't mad at that. Always a pleasure, brother. Again, thank you for joining us here on The Player and the Fan. Kiara, look. Appreciate you, lady. I'm trying to win this bid. It's a I'm on eBay, and it's a Carolina golf club, man. A 60-degree wedge, and people keep outbidding me, bro. I almost hit the dude, but they, you're supposed to be able to hit the person and be like, "Hey, bro, let me get that club. I'm David Noel. They ain't even got that on here, dog."
They'll probably give it to you.
So now I got 3 minutes and 7 seconds left, and I'm gonna throw a bid out there in 1 minute and see if I win.
Good luck.
I appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
All right, y'all.
Appreciate you, Doug. Enjoy, brother. We holla.